Hey y'all, that's my cousin Baltimore says it. But listen, today your girl is making an apple pie, and that was because I had bought these apples. I bought a bag of apples from Target, and then I messed around and did not finish them, and they were getting to the point where I was like, these are gonna go bad if I don't use them. So I decided to make an apple pie. And I looked at some recipes online. I pulled my hair back, and so I'm looking like, yeah, auntie, for real. So I looked up some recipes online, and then I was at Aldi the other day, and I saw this Duncan Hines pie filling. I did not read the instructions and know that I needed 2 of these, but I figured since I already had apples, that 1 should be enough. You basically follow the instructions on this, and also, I got this pie crust that I usually get from the store a lot. I got the Aldi version because I went Aldi and got this. And they have this Bake House Pie Crust. So it comes with a top and a bottom. So that you see, like, here's an example of a pie. Usually I use this when I make my chicken pot pies, and I use a different brand. I usually use like a real name brand. But I think this is gonna be okay for the Aldi, my Aldi apple pie. So what you'll see behind me is that I cut up about 4 apples that I had that were still good, and I already laid out the bottom pie crust, but I gotta go back and press it because I didn't let it warm up enough, because you have to put them in the refrigerator and then let it warm up. I didn't let it warm up enough before I started like pressing it down into my pie pan, so it's broken up and I gotta put it back together again. It's like the potter wants to put you back, if you know it, together again. It's like that. So I gotta do that before I unroll the top one. And I'm gonna try to do what I saw in this YouTube video. You know, when you be getting apple pies and you be seeing them, and they got this lattice style top or whatever they call this design. I'm gonna attempt that with the other pie crust. But I'm watching a YouTube video by Natasha's Kitchen. She has 1.97 million subscribers. So I'll link the video to that, but it's really easy. Now, she made that joint from scratch. I'm like doing a little bit of scratch with the apples, and then I'm gonna cheat with everything else with this and the pie crust. So hang on, and I'm gonna show you my next step. Okay, so I thought it would be boring to watch me like use the can opener to open this can, but y'all, this baby smells like apple pie filling. If you look at it, it really just looks like a can of, you know, apples. Like your grandma and them make in the morning time. Maybe your grandma ain't do that, but you know, some grandmas do that. But what I'm gonna do is, I have a bowl that I've already washed and all that kind of stuff, rinsed out. And I'm gonna pour my pie filling into this. And then I'm gonna add my sliced apples into this and add a little bit more brown sugar and maybe a little bit of syrup. You think that'll work? So I have enough? I guess I'll let you know how it turns out. Because in the YouTube video that I was watching, the lady made her pie filling from scratch. But I ain't doing all of that. And I didn't have enough butter left. I need to go get some more butter to do all of that she just did. So I was like, well, let's see how this goes. So I got my can of apples, literally, in this bowl. And I'm gonna transfer these apples over. And so what I like to do is, this is a huge cutting board and I love this, but what I like to do is I like to put a piece of wax paper down, you can see that, so that it makes cleanup really, really easy. But like when I chop up vegetables, I just literally pick up the wax paper and then dump them into my soups or whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide this on in the bowl. And you can't really see what I'm doing, but it's okay because I'm gonna show you in a second. So, hold on a second, and I'll show you more. Okay, so if you can see, I'm doing this right. I put the apples on top, and they look brown because they've been out for a little bit after I cut them. I put it on top of the other apples, and then what I'm gonna do is add a little bit of syrup on the top to help with the consistency, and some brown sugar, and I'm gonna mix it together so that when I put it inside of my pie shell, my crust, it'll all be kind of even. So let's see how that goes. And child, I ain't using nothing but some more Target syrup that I had. It's the light kind, Lord knows. Don't judge me. This is all I got. So I'm gonna use this. Oh, you know what? I think I do have another syrup. Okay, so what I did was I didn't measure nothing. I just opened a bag of dark brown sugar that I had from Kroger. And so I added maybe about a half a cup to 3/4 cups of brown sugar. And then about the same half a cup, maybe, of syrup. And then I just stir everything together until it looked like, uh-oh, I'm not doing this right, y'all, sorry. Until it looked like all of the sliced apples that I added were mixed in good. Or I mean, like they were coated with the mixture from the canned apples and from the other one. So hold on. Oh, y'all, almost forgot to show you. So the pie crust, you get 2 of these. This is literally the pie crust. And you just let it get to room temperature, or you can microwave it. I prefer to just wait until it gets to room temperature, because every time I microwave that joint to try to get it there, I've been messing up and it be ooey gooey. So take it out of the sleeve. Again, wash your hands, because it's dough. And then you just start to unroll it like you would like with a crescent roll. So it comes in a circle shape. Literally, you just save like all this time from having to roll out dough. So I'm gonna put it on my chopping board. Let me show you what I got happening. So literally, again, I'm sorry that I'm getting the angles messed up. It's sitting up here, and I'm gonna cut it in the lattice shape, but I'm also gonna use pieces of it to fill in these gaps, if you can see that in my pie, my bottom crust, because I got some little holes in there. So I just like to fill it in with the top crust, because you can like try to hide all that stuff. So I'll let you know how that goes. So listen, I literally just slipped this down, and I think I cut 10 little 10 little lattice strips. And so look, I got powder all on my nose, or flour all on my nose. That's because we really cooking now. We're really cooking. All right, but listen. So I'm watching the video.
The first 5 strips should be in one direction across your
She's
pie,
showing
with
us
the
what to
longer
do.
strips in the center and the short.
So I'm gonna keep watching that, and we'll come back in a second. Let me clean up my face. No, let me not clean up my face, because it looks like I'm really doing something. But wait, doggone, y'all, I forgot. So here's my bottom pie crust. I'm gonna fill it with the filling that you saw me mixing up, and then I'm gonna put the lattice strips up there. I almost forgot to tell you that. All right, so I put the filling in, and baby, look at God. You know, I ain't never made no apple pie before from scratch. Well, you know, semi-scratch. But the 4 apples that I used were the perfect amount to go along with the can. And then again, about a half a cup of syrup, half a cup to 3/4 cups. Judge it just enough to be able to coat the apples that were the sliced apples. And then that like half a cup or so, half a cup-ish, so to speak, maybe 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. It was perfect. Look at this. So it's the perfect amount, because I don't want it to be too high. So, and excuse my stove right now. Like when I was chopping up the apples and taking out the stuff, I got some crumbs and just stuff up there. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna do the lattice top. And again, watch the video in the link below to figure that out. All right, so I did the little lattice thing, and I probably spread things out a little bit much. And so it looks like I got windows instead of little peekaboo things. So what I'm trying to do now is, like, you see these little pieces here? I had some extra dough, like from the edges on these, that I'm tearing off and sticking in there so it doesn't look so gappy. But it ain't gotta be cute, it just gotta be good. That's the name of the game for this first time. So hang on, I'm following the directions more or less. All right, y'all, so I did that. I tried to cover up a lot of the holes, and then I pressed the edges of the pie down. You'll see, like here, I folded them back and tried to press them down, more or less, so that that'll work. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take probably about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter and melt it in the microwave and run it across the top. So that as it bakes, you'll get some of the butter with the mixing with the apple and buttery dough. Now, the lady in the video suggested doing this egg wash type of thing on the top, but I'm not gonna do that just because I don't want to. I want to use butter, so I'm using the butter. And then there was something else that I was gonna say. What was it? I guess when it comes back to me, I'll tell you. So of course, heated up the butter in the microwave since it wasn't that much. Only took like 12 seconds. So now I'm gonna just use my spoon. I got a little spoon, and I'm gonna just pour it, primarily focusing on the lattices on the top. Because I think it had a little brush, but I don't know where that's at, if I got it. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna use the rest of the butter and pour it into the little vents so that it'll be nice and buttery. Okay, so I did that, and this is what it looks like so far. You'll see all the butter that I spread on. And I think I wanna add more butter as it bakes, but that's what I was gonna tell you guys. So I'm gonna also use some aluminum foil and put around the edges so that the edges don't burn, because I don't want them to brown faster than the rest of the pie. You see my lip? Excuse me. I'm gonna get these together and I'm gonna show you the aluminum foil. So I literally just tore off pieces of aluminum foil that were about 3.5 or so inches wide, and then just the length of the roll. And what you'll see is I put it around the edges so that the edges don't burn, but I can still keep a watch on the pie. So what I'm gonna do now is put the pie in the oven. I'm supposed to just bake it until basically the crust gets brown. I think, let's see, how long did the lady say? However long she said, I can come back and tell you later, but I'm gonna go ahead and slide it in the oven. All right, y'all, so this lady said put it in the oven for 15 minutes. Oh, I should have told you. My oven has been preheating for like the last 40 minutes or however long it's been taking me to get this together. But I set the oven at 425 per the ingredients or per the instructions on the pie crust box. And that was the same temperature that the lady said. So 15 minutes at 425, and then lower it to, I think she said 350 for about 35 minutes or so. I'll let you know in a second. All right, she said 15 minutes at 425, and then without opening the door of the oven, so don't open the door, just look at it with a light on. Reduce the heat to 350 for another 45 minutes, or until the apples are soft. I don't know how you tell that, but I guess if you're a veteran baker of apple pies, then you know. So I'm gonna I set my timer, 15 minutes, a minute has gone by. I'm gonna come back and turn it down to 350 for 45 minutes, and we just gonna let it be what it's gonna be and make sure that it looks brown. And then I plan to, probably when there's another 10 minutes left, like 45 minutes, add more butter. But I should also have told you that as soon as I added the filling to the pie crust, the bottom one, I went ahead and used some hot water in the bowl that I had mixed the apples, and when I added the brown sugar and all that other stuff to the canned apples, because I had syrup and all that, and I wasn't trying to be fighting that if it dried up and got, hard and difficult. So make sure you do that, rinse it out real good and everything, so that when you get ready to wash your dishes, you ain't got all that to do. So while that's baking, I'm gonna wash my dishes, and then I'm gonna come back and let you know what the situation is. So the 15 minutes is up, and I just decreased the temperature. So see y'all in about 45 minutes, not for real. My timer just went off. I thought maybe you were gonna hear it, but I hit the button too late, I guess. Let's see what the pie looks like. Grab my little oven mitts before I burn something up. Let's see here. So the dough is still looking a little light skinned, so I'm gonna stick it back in for a little bit. But this is what she's looking like so far. But she a little light skinned. I'm gonna also lift up the pan because I use a glass pan. I'm gonna lift it up and look under the bottom. Look at all this, these edges of new growth. I ain't mad. Don't talk about me. This is how it grows. So that's how it's gonna look. But anyway, I'm gonna lift up the bottom of the pan to make sure that the dough at the bottom is browning, because I don't want it to be too light skinned. I want it to be done. I also took the aluminum foil pieces off because I'm not gonna let it stay in for that much longer. But those edges was light skinned too. And I went ahead and turned the oven up to about 385. Because usually when I use the same type of pie crust, I don't do the lattice method. I just put the top right on and then pinch the edges together. You see that? Pinch the edges together and then add some slits so that it can vent. So, and I usually bake that at about 375. So I just turned it up and I'm gonna leave it in for another 10 minutes and then check it out. So I'll come back. So child, while this thing is finishing up, because like I said, I didn't want it to be so light skinned. And yes, it is after midnight. I don't know if you saw the clock on my microwave. Oh, that joint said press start. Nothing was in there. But I'm reading the January-February issue of Essence with Rihanna on the cover. And I was like, let me keep reading this because I'm trying to finish this issue. I felt like I needed more blackness in my life out here in these pandemic streets. And they had a great deal on the subscription, but you ain't asked for that. But if you get the magazine, check out this article on The Struggle is Real about Black mamas, COVID, and child care. That's real life. But let's take a look at the pie. I think it's ready. So it's still a little light skin in the middle, but it's done. I just probably will throw it back in the oven for a few more minutes. But I want to show you what it looks like because your girl is trying to go to sleep soon because it's almost 1 o'clock. But the little juices is boiling because it's been in there. It's good and done. But you'll see like the lattice shapes and how everything is percolating, so to speak. So I'm supposed to apparently let this cool for an hour before I slice it. So I'm gonna try to do that. I might take a nap and then get up and then taste it because I really want to eat some before I go to sleep. I don't want to just put it in the refrigerator. So I'll have to let you know in a subsequent video. No, just read the comments in the description box. Let you know how it tastes. But it smells delicious. It smells like apple pie, so I'm so excited. So definitely check out the video link in the description box as well to the lady who is the real MVP of apple pies. And let me know if you make your own apple pie following her recipe or something similar to what I did, an adaptation of what the two of us did, something like that. Then comment and let me know how it turns out. Good night.